The spread of COVID-19 and the measures we're taking against it are causing daily disruptions to many people's lives. There's so much change and uncertainty to deal with, it's easy to get confused and overwhelmed. And home insurance may not be the first things on people's mind, but many home insurance customers understandably have questions. So we put together this video and information on home insurance and how it may affect you as a homeowner, landlord, tenant, or someone who needs to submit a claim in the time of COVID-19. The biggest change for most people over the past few weeks is that we're spending a lot more time at home. The good news is that the overwhelming majority of us don't have anything to worry about when it comes to home insurance during this time, as your policy will protect your property as it always has. In fact, being stuck at home may be a benefit from an insurance perspective since you're there to respond quickly to problems before they cause any damage. What if my home is vacant or unoccupied because of COVID-19? If your home is vacant, it's important to inform your home insurance provider as soon as you can. If it's unoccupied, you don't necessarily need to inform your insurer. And although occupancy and vacancy sound similar, it's important to know the differences between these two terms because they have a different effect on your policy. Vacant homes are those that the occupants have moved out of with no intention of returning. Newly built or purchased homes that no one has moved into yet would also be considered vacant. Even furnished homes can still be vacant. It's all about the intention to return or not, and you must inform your insurance provider if your home becomes vacant. In the current situation with COVID-19, vacant homes are more likely a concern for landlords, but we'll get into this a bit later. Unoccupied homes are different from vacant homes. An unoccupied home is one that no one is living in it presently, but the occupants plan to return. And the measures against COVID-19 may cause some homes to be unoccupied that otherwise would not be. So if you found yourself unable to return home due to travel restrictions, your home may be unoccupied for longer than you'd planned. And home insurers will require a few things from homeowners during times when they leave their home unoccupied. For instance, some insurers require that someone checks on the home daily, especially in colder weather. And given current travel restrictions and physical distancing measures, that may not be easy. So if your home is unexpectedly unoccupied, you should at least find someone to check on it as frequently as possible, and talk to your home insurance provider to make sure they're okay with the measures you are taking. Regardless, if you are delayed in returning to your home due to COVID-19 measures, give your home insurance provider a heads up. And if you're a Square One customer and you're unable to return to home as planned, let us know. We'll work with you to make sure your home stays covered until you can return safely. Can I claim additional living expenses because of COVID-19? Unfortunately, no. The additional living expenses coverage is meant to help cover extra expenses when a home is uninhabitable due to physical damage. So if for some reason you're unable to live in your home because of COVID-19, your home insurance policy won't be able to reimburse your living expenses. ALE can cover you if you're removed from your home due to an evacuation order from a civil authority. However, the current COVID-19 measures like physical distancing and travel restrictions are different from evacuation orders. So in short, ALE coverage won't respond. If you're finding it hard to keep up with the expenses during this crisis, I highly recommend to make sure you've applied for any government assistance that you may qualify for. As tenants lose their income and Airbnb guests cancel bookings, landlords and short-term rental operators are definitely feeling the effects of COVID-19 as well. Will rental income insurance cover losses from COVID-19? Rental income coverage is meant to cover lost rental income when tenants can't occupy the rental suite because it suffered physical damage caused by an insured loss. Unfortunately, the presence of viruses is not a physical damage, which means there's no insured event to trigger coverage under home insurance policies. Landlords can't claim lost rental income caused by common viruses like the everyday cold or flu. And although COVID-19 may be an extreme situation, it's still a virus, so it's outside the scope of rental income insurance. This goes for both landlords and short-term rental operators. Rental income coverage for landlords also won't provide coverage if their tenants were laid off and cannot afford rent. Instead, landlords in this kind of situation will need to work with their tenants to find a solution. To help with these scenarios, many provinces have introduced programs to help renters and landlords. Short-term rental operators are in a particularly challenging position, as the tourism industry has almost grounded to a complete halt. So one solution that many have already turned to is to find long-term tenants for the short-term rental suites. What if my Airbnb property is now unoccupied? Airbnb guests have canceled virtually all their reservations for the near future, which can be financially troubling for Airbnb operators. But they need to take steps to make sure they address their rental suite's new reality. If your short-term rental suite has no guests now, nor any scheduled in the foreseeable future, it's effectively vacant. And vacant properties have special considerations when it comes to home insurance. So if you're a short-term rental operator, I highly encourage you to speak with your insurance provider about your situation. And while your provider won't necessarily need Airbnb hosts to formally change the occupancy on their policy to vacant, rental suite owners should still act like their rentals are vacant and take some extra risk management steps, which include shutting off the home's water supply. Burst pipes and the resulting water damage are one of the biggest risks to an unoccupied home, especially when the weather is near freezing. And even during warm weather, a dishwasher or washing machine hose can suddenly spring leaks while no one is home. So to help prevent this issue, you should shut off the water supply to your rental unit. Otherwise, it may be necessary to check on your home every day to ensure everything's in order. And second, make the home look lived in. Unfortunately, burglary doesn't stop just because we're dealing with a pandemic. And if your rental home is a house or a similar property with street access, it's worth taking some steps to hide its vacancy and protect it from burglars, such as setting up timed indoor lights to come on after it's dark. Avoid letting flyers, newspapers, or other deliveries pile up on the front steps. And set up security cameras and motion sensors around the property. Amid an unprecedented wave of layoffs and reduced hours, renters across Canada are worried about how they're going to pay their rent during this crisis and what will happen if they can't. What can I do if I can't afford rent? If you're stressed or anxious that you can't afford rent because you've been laid off, fortunately, the Government of Canada and most of the provincial governments have announced plans to help renters during this time. Renters facing economic hardship should first apply for federal benefits like the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. To help further, each province is also putting in specific measures because of COVID-19, and you can find out more information about that from the respective provincial websites. And as this crisis continues, governments at all levels are introducing new measures. So make sure to stay up to date on what your home province is doing to help renters, as new support may become available. Are there any tenant insurance considerations during the COVID-19 pandemic? Much like we discussed earlier with homeowners, tenants who have a tenant or renter's insurance policy should not have any problems with their coverage due to COVID-19. If you continue to pay your premiums, your tenant insurance policy will continue to function like normal. That being said, if you can't return home due to COVID-19 travel restrictions and you're stuck in a different country, your home will be unoccupied as a result. And the issues around unoccupied homes are much the same for tenants as they are for homeowners. So in short, take the usual steps your home insurance provider requires when your home is unoccupied. And talk to your insurance provider about anything you're not sure of. They'll let you know what you need to do if you can't return home as planned. Lastly, some people have asked if additional living expense coverage can respond to COVID-19 related issues if they're a tenant. And unfortunately, like the case with homeowners, you can't claim additional living expenses because of any virus, which includes COVID-19. The claims process, at least for Square One, remains unchanged during the COVID-19 pandemic. You can still report your claims 24/7 by calling 1-855-331-6933 or by visiting the support page at squareoneinsurance.com. And don't worry, we've included a link in the description below so you can access that easily. What if my repairs are delayed due to COVID-19? Given the disruptions to every industry, it's quite possible that repairs to your damaged property might be delayed. Or you may not wish to have contractors in your home while physical distancing measures are in place. So if repairs to your home are delayed because of COVID-19, Square One will work with you to find the best way to bring your claim to a conclusion. It's a time of incredible uncertainty for everyone. And if you need more information about how COVID-19 will affect your home insurance, we recommend contacting your home insurance provider for more information. And if you're a Square One customer, you can contact a licensed insurance agent at 1-855-331-6933 or visit squareoneinsurance.com. Thank you and stay safe, everyone.